Okay, class. So today we're going to do a review of the basic ZBrush driving lesson stuff and how to get your dyno in there and a few beginning brushes, and then we'll start sculpting. So this thing that pops up when you open ZBrush is just like a tutorial, like homepage, kind of a browser. It's a pain in the butt. You can take off always show and just show if updated if you want by clicking on the gear there, I think. But also if you close it and you can get to, whoops, don't mean to have that open, and you can go over and get to preferences here in the menu bar, and usually there's more there, and you have to hold down your mouse button to get there, and you can go to screensaver and turn that to 1,000,000 billion so that it never comes up again. On the where did my hard drive go? Okay, ignore the messy desktop, but under actually we could just do it from ZBrush so I don't get embarrassed from the noisy desktop. All right, so system settings and then mouse. You can enable your buttons. I have one of the wireless mice on my computer right now, but you can go in there and enable your buttons. That'll allow you to hold down or scroll through. Okay, screensaver. Sometimes you'll see like tools over here. This is a bug that they've never fixed, where the part of the menu will go down in there. Luckily for you, we're going to be using mostly keyboard shortcuts and not like all these, tools and stuff. But look at this screen. You're going to have a tool palette on the side over here where we get our brushes right there. And it treats everything like clay, and you use different types of tools or brushes to sculpt that clay. You have this light box here, which is found with this button up here at the top, and basically that'll show you all the recent work, and it will show you like extra brushes that you can load in, one of them being I think scales are in here somewhere that we can use. I don't know where they are right now. I'll have to find them. And you can make that smaller if you scrub by holding down your mouse button, and it should show you more textures maybe. So there's all these things that because you can paint in ZBrush. After you sculpt your model, you can physically paint your model, and we're going to learn how to do that as well. You have different tools. Once you model something, they call it a tool, and we'll learn about that. Alphas are different types of the way that this brush stroke works. Materials. There's just all kinds of like standard materials that you can use, Z materials. This stuff they throw in the software, like you see with Cinema 4D. I'm trying to find the scales. There's some really good scales that we can use. Oh, there they are. So we could click on that and use those to like paint with and paint on scales. It's really cool. Anyways, to get rid of this light box so you can start doing your stuff, you just click on light box. So you go up here where it says light box and you click on light box and it's gone. ZBrush is really tricky. The way that it's laid out isn't normal, but most of the main tools that we're going to use are going to be over here on this side in this toolbox. when we start working. And there's a toolbar here on the side, but we don't use it that often. And there's a toolbar over here on this side, and we don't really use it that often until we start, except for the very top one, which we use all the time for brushes. And then when we start painting our sculpture, we go into some of these other ones. And then the main stuff up here basically is the size of your brush. So we have the draw size, and then the focal shift is like how crispy it's going to be on the edge, kind of like a feathered brush in Photoshop. Whether it's nice and soft on the edges or hard and crispy on the edges. We have an intensity for like how powerful the brush is going to be, if it's very light or if it's very strong. We have also an RGB intensity. We can turn that off so it only, this is for color, so when you're painting you can do a light paint or a heavy saturated paint. You can turn it on and off with that button. You can add or subtract, meaning so it'll build up or it'll dig in with Z sub and Z add. I don't know why they put Z on everything, it's kind of dorky. And then we have draw. Now we don't have anything in here yet, so what we're gonna have to do is come over here to import, and we're gonna go get our Dino Final Mesh OBJ file that we exported from Photoshop, from Cinema 4D, sorry. It's early in the morning, it's like 6:30. So I'm gonna hit open, and I might not have given it enough time, there we go. What you're gonna do is drag, and just drag it as big as you can get. Don't worry if it's at a weird angle, and then just click to let go and it will release. And then before you do anything, if you start dragging again, you're gonna be painting in like these quasi like 2D, 3D illustrations, because it lets you do like kind of this 2.5D illustration type of thing. We don't want that, okay? So I'm gonna, if that happens to you, the way to clear your board and get the hell out of this stuff is to hold down the command key and hit the letter N. And you're gonna wanna remember that. That's clear, okay? Clears your screen. So you can click and drag again this time without having a spaz, and then click down in the corner there. There's a need there. I can do this better, but as your first, I'm just kind of giving you like, this will probably, the lesson how it will naturally happen to you when you first start using ZBrush. All right, so we drag that out with our mouse. Now, before you do anything, if you click even once, then you're gonna just have to clear your screen again with Command N. So you want to drag out as big as you can get it, like from corner to corner, and then immediately go up to Edit right there and click on that. And then immediately go over to here to make Polymesh 3D right there. And then now you can hold down your command, or your mouse button, sorry, and you can rotate it in all the directions of the universe. You can hold down the Shift key and snap it to other directions. You have a rotating head here, which you can click on and rotate. You have a move, a flip tool with these arrows, so you can flip it to the side, flip it upside down, face forward, bottom. So that's like, these are quick maneuvers over here. You have down here, and you can't see it, but you have a frame, which will put it in the middle of your screen right there. And then you have move, which you can hold down on the tool and move it around. And then the one that you can't see right there, I'm gonna hide my dock and then expand this a little bit. You see it doesn't even really do anything. It's like the resolution is scale, or rotate, I mean. And there is a scale. You can rotate just on one axis with the tool over here, both axes, all axes. There is a scale in here, but I can't see it because it's a resolution thing. And the way that we're setting our monitors, and some of the other computers just can't show it. So it's kind of a bug, and I don't know why ZBrush is never fixed it, but maybe Maxon, now that they own ZBrush, will fix it instead of Pixelogic. Anyways, I'm going to show you the keyboard shortcuts, so you don't need to worry about that, okay? You just have to remember the keyboard shortcuts. So how do we clear stuff? First things first. All right, well, like, let's say I want to get a new Dino up here. I don't want this one, or it's the wrong model, or whatever, the wrong tool. I'm going to go to Edit up here and take that off. I'm going to go Switch, and then I can hit Command N to clear the screen again. All right. So we'll bring in the Dino. We'll go to Edit. We'll go to Make Polymesh 3D. And then now we can move it around. Now, how do I get it in the screen? Well, I can go to Frame and get it in the screen there. I can click on the arrow tools and get it into position that way. Okay. But there's another way. That we can get this to move around, and that is if you hold down your Option key and your mouse button at the same time, you can move it wherever you want it to go, and there, just like the Move tool over here does. Okay, Move Edited Object right there. I'm on this tool right there. It's hard to make it blink on and off, really, like I do Cinema, but hold down the Option key and the Command or the mouse button at the same time, and you can drag it around. But you also have Frame, so you can click on the Frame button here, and you can click on the head, and you can click on the arrows to do like quick movements. Okay, and that's key because you really have to constantly be rotating it around to sculpt all the sides and stuff like that. We sculpt with symmetry on usually, which is found under Transform, where we activate the symmetry, and you can see like these are really confusing UIs. I mean, I don't know, with ZBrush, it's one of the most brilliant softwares out there with the way that it does stuff, because no one else can copy what they do, but their UI, this is the user interface, is a mess. It's like you have to be an alien with two brains and whatever. It just doesn't, it's not intuitive. So we have to, like Cinema is. So we have to kind of like go through this really slowly. So this is what you need to do when you start working in here, is you need to refrain from clicking on stuff if you don't know what it does, okay? I also want to point out that, look at the holes here in my arm. This is what I was talking about when you have overlapping like polygons and weird twists and overlapping points. Or you didn't, line something up with set point value or whatever in the block model as you get. Like, I'm surprised I don't have one on the hand right here. This is an older dinosaur, so I'm not surprised he's messed up, but this isn't the one I've been working on with you in class. But this kind of stuff is really hard to seal out. It's notorious for getting those if your block model isn't perfect, which is why a lot of people, the other ways of making a 3D model or a character is to use either what are called Z-spheres or Dynamesh, which is just to take a lump, like, a clay like a sphere, and just like twist it and mold it like you do clay. Or in your case, if you've never had ceramics, like Play-Doh or something. All right, and some of you have never had that, which is weird, but hopefully you'll get the gist of it when we start sculpting this, okay? So anyways, hold down the Option key and the Command key at the same time, and then while still the Option key and the mouse key, sorry, my bad. So hold down the Option key and the mouse button at the same time. While still holding down the mouse button, let go of the Option key, and you can zoom in and out, and then you can like hit Frame and get it back in the middle. So when you really need to get in there, you hold down both buttons and then let go the mouse button and the Option key, and then let go, and you can zoom in and do your work, and then like sculpt it. So I could go to a smaller size brush, and we can go to my standard brush, and we'll just we'll do sub, and you can see how I can like dig in to the thing. Now this is a low res mesh, so it's looking all steppy and pixelated, okay? And then add up here at the top adds material, okay? Let's make it a little bit higher res. It's going through the motions right here. There's a counter bar right there. All right, so there is, I've raised it up, and you can see with a high intensity, and then here is a low intensity. Okay, so that's how we sculpt. And we go over here and we click on a brush, and there's a billion, trillion, zillion brushes. Some of them even like brush a sculpting object. Okay, so we select our brush, and then we some like this build up material slowly. Some are just polishing brushes. Okay, some do like hard creases. So we'll get into the brushes later, but some polished stuff. Like there's a number of brushes I want you to do as your first basic brushes. Like we're only going to do like 5 or 6 because it could be, you know, really confusing. So once you click on the brush that you want to use, and they're all alphabetical. So when you kind of like learn the name of the brush, like I want to go to move topological, it's under M. And move topological lets me like stretch and move the model. I kind of raised up the resolution too high, and it just crashed on me. So you got to be careful with that too. So I'm going to open ZBrush again and do it all over again. All right, so here's ZBrush, and it does do an automatic save. I'll show you how to save in a minute. I'll go to recent and I'll grab a dinosaur. All right, that's already been done. Okay, but if I want to clear this dinosaur and get the one that I was just working on my OBJ file, I go edit, switch, Command N to clear, and then I would go to import over here and go get my Dino Final Mesh, and you wait till that little, I don't know if you saw, but there's a gold line and there's a gold line here. Those are your counters, like when it's calculating. So I'm going to hit Command N to clear it if I make a mistake. You click and you drag, get it as big as you can, and then hit edit, and then hit Polymesh 3D, and then go over to frame it up. And then remember, you could just click and rotate with your mouse. You don't have to do anything other than that, or you could go to the little head right there and rotate it that way. You can frame it up again. If you want to, you can move it around with this tool down here, or you can hold down the Option and the mouse button, and that's the way I do it. We always have to go to those tools in Cinema 4D every time we want to do something, and it's slow. And so knowing the keyboard shortcut for it, like we're going to do here in ZBrush, is the way to go. So we're going to start using the keyboard shortcuts. And so holding down your Option key and your mouse button. You do have a move over here. You do have a zoom right here, so I can zoom in and out as well. I can move and I can frame it up and rotate it all through the side tools. So if that's the way you want to do it, then be my guest. But the easier method is to hold down the Option key and the mouse button, and you can move it around, or while holding down the mouse button and the Option key, let go of the Option key and then just hold down the mouse button only without letting go of the mouse button. You can zoom in and out. It rotates automatically just by holding down your mouse button, so you can quickly, you know, move it around and zoom in and out and get in there and do your work. All right. You want to frame it up, it'll bring it up and kind of fill your little frame here. All right, so that's edit, make Polymesh 3D immediately. I forgot to do that, and so you can still move it around until then. And then remember, if you want to clear it and you need to bring in something else to model, you can go save your file under File, Save As, and it's going to try to name it Z Project. It likes to put everything in one spot, so I would make a new folder inside of your folder. So go to your users folder, and then make a new folder down there with the new folder button, and save it into that, okay? Or just save it into your file if you want, The format is always going to be ZPR, GIF, PNG, or whatever. You want to put all that on there and hit save. You have the ability to save stuff as PNGs or GIFs in case you wanted your image, your 3D image, to go on like the web or something, or like you're going to just take the 3D image into a painting program or a digital imaging program and make it 2D, and then like kind of paint around it and stuff like that, and Photoshop or Illustrator or whatever. So you can do PNG, but then you're going to hit save. And then if you wanted to bring another file, you click off of edit, hit switch. You can always say always switch, skip note until restart. I always just hit switch. And then hit command key, hold that down and hit the letter N and declare it. And over here where it says tool, right here in the toolbar, we have a number of basic shapes and primitives, just like Cinema 4D. We're going to use Z-spheres to later make a new character, but we have some basic shapes here. And we're going to do this on our driving lesson. We're going to go get a sphere, and we're going to take that sphere and we're going to click edit and make polymesh 3D, and we're going to go to geometry over here. It's kind of like a menu bar here. There's Dynamesh I was talking about earlier. Z remesher to give it new, like you can change the resolution, which is amazing, and stuff like that. And we can also make it have skins over here, and there's all kinds of cool stuff. Anyways, we're gonna go to divide, and that, if you look at it, you can see when I hit divide, you see these little squares, they become smaller and smaller, so you're increasing the resolution by doing that. And the higher the resolution, I mean, your computer can only do so much, but I'm going to go to a brush called the DAM standard, which is it's basically short for Damien standard, but as a joke we call it DAM standard, and it is like the standard brush, which we're going to use in a minute, but it gives you much smaller details with your sculpting. And you go to your draw size and your focal shift and your intensity, and you sculpt your stuff. And then, like before, I was showing you under Lightbox, we had some scales under tool, or wait, under brush, and it was right here. And we could go and get like fish scales, and I could go to bigger brush, and I can paint in fishy scales, stuff like lizard scales. We have a different way of doing the brushes to improve the scales. There are all kinds of stuff. There's an eyeball brush in here somewhere. There we go. Where we can go get an eye. Let's rotate. I mean, it's a dope software. You're gonna really dig it when we start getting in here. Anyways, click on the brush again. Go back to your regular standard brush. There's Move Topological, which allows us to start pulling out the model. And this is how the pros do it, is they'll keep doing this, and then they'll go over to what's called Dynamesh, and they'll increase the resolution, and they'll either take the resolution down or they'll increase it, so that when we're stretching it out, you can see, like with the lower resolution my eyeball got, a little bit like less detail. You kind of have to let it catch up. I'm sort of like using too high of a res right now. and I have cinema open and all this other stuff, so I don't want to. Anyways, I'm getting ahead of myself. We're going to do that in another lesson, how to kind of like go and use Dynamesh, and we're going to use these different brushes and how to mask stuff so that you can just do one section only and all kinds of cool stuff. All right. So I'm going to save my file, save as, give it a name, save it into your work folder, and that's just your basic ZBrush. The driving lesson we're going to do next, I'm going to start showing you more of the brushes and more of the features over here on the side and what we basically just need to learn. But that is kind of half your driving lesson, and we'll do a driving lesson part 2. All right, and then we'll start sculpting our dynos. So when we start doing our driving lesson, you're going to be using a sphere. So I'm going to clear this. I'm going to take off edit right there, go with the switch, hit Command N. So when you open up your project, we're not going to do the driving lesson on the dyno. We're going to go over here to Tools, and you're going to go get a standard sphere, drag that out, and that's what we're going to do the driving lesson on. And then you hit Edit always. You go and hit Make Polymesh 3D. Okay, and then we'll take it from that point into the driving lesson part 2, which will be available next week. Okay, see you in class.